Have you ever, like, looked at a utility bill or maybe a healthcare invoice and just stared at the numbers?
Oh, yeah, constantly, just staring at them.
Right. Like, you're looking at the line items, the administrative fees, the vague delivery charges, the whatever convenience
Look, the
surcharges.
convenience fees are the best.
Yeah. And you're just wondering why you are paying so much for things that seem, well, essential to simply existing.
Yeah, but most of the time, you probably just sigh, pull out your credit card, and accept it. Because, I mean, that's just the cost of modern living, right?
Exactly. It's the baseline assumption we all operate under.
You need water to drink, you need power to heat your home, you need to be healthy enough to just wake up the next day.
Yeah, the basics.
And because these things are the absolute baseline requirements for a human being, we rarely stop to question the architecture of the systems providing them.
No, we really don't.
And more importantly, we never question the logic behind how they are priced. We just assume that if the number on the paper is astronomically high, the actual physical cost of providing that service to you must be equally high.
But what if that assumption is a complete illusion? What if a massive portion of what you pay for every single month isn't actually for the physical resource itself, but for an artificial, completely made-up barrier that someone placed between you and that resource?
That is the core question.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into an audio essay from the Unfiltered Build Show. It's titled The Scarcity Scam. And the argument it makes is profound. It says that throughout human history, we haven't been sold resources. We've been sold artificial scarcity.
Yeah. And our mission today is to break down the exact mechanics of how this works.
Let's do it.
We are going to examine the deliberate playbook used to monetize free resources. Then we're going to look at how modern technology, specifically, artificial intelligence and automation, is currently bulldozing those barriers.
Which is super exciting to think about.
It really is. And finally, we need to figure out what this massive shift means for you, both as a consumer and just, as a person trying to navigate an increasingly automated world.
I love that. So to even begin to understand how technology is changing the price tag of our modern lives right now, we have to look backward, really.
You do. We have to look way back.
Yeah, we have to understand the ancient business model that established these absurd prices in the first place. And there's this incredible, vivid thought experiment in the material that sets the stage perfectly.
It's such a great visual.
It is.
Yeah.
Imagine a person thousands of years ago standing right next to a free-flowing, never-ending river.
A river that nature provides at absolutely zero cost. I mean, it asks nothing of anyone. It just flows.
Right. And instead of this person looking at the river and thinking, wow, nature is incredibly generous, our entire village is going to be perfectly fine.
Which is what a normal person would think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this person looks at the water and has a completely different thought. They think, what if I told everyone there isn't enough of this? What if I somehow convinced them the water is dangerous to get on their own?
And
then what if I charged them a fee for the privilege of not dying of thirst?
Well, the most sobering part of that thought experiment is that it worked.
It actually worked.
It worked thousands of years ago, and it continues to work today. The analysis points out that this is arguably the only business model in human history with a perfect track record.
A perfect track record.
Yeah. The core observation here is that fear has never had a bad quarter.
Oh, wow. I love that phrasing.
Right. Fear is the ultimate product. It never goes out of style, it never needs a viral marketing campaign, and it guarantees an entirely captive market.
Same fear, fresh invoice. That concept is just wild to think about. Okay, let's unpack this because there's an actual 4-step playbook for how this hustle operates, and we really need to look at the mechanics of it.
Yeah, the playbook is incredibly simple but effective.
So, step 1. Find something the planet gives away for free. We're talking water, sunlight, air, or even just basic human dignity.
Step 2 is where the work begins.
Right, step 2. Build a fence around it. This could be a literal, physical fence or like a metaphorical one made of red tape and bureaucracy.
And this is where the genius of the manipulation comes in, because step 3 is the illusion of protection. You don't just lock the gate.
You act like you're the hero.
Exactly. You act deeply emotionally concerned for everyone's safety. You look the public in the eye and say, we are doing this to protect you. The resource is scarce, it's dangerous, and you need our expertise to handle it.
Wow. And then finally, step 4. You send the invoice.
The inevitable invoice.
It makes me think of someone setting up a toll booth on a public hiking trail. Like, imagine you're walking in a massive national park, and some self-appointed guy sets up a little wooden gate right in the middle of the path.
Just out of nowhere.
Right. He looks at you with deep concern and says, hey, I need to charge you $20 to look at these trees. It's for your own safety. The trees are very unpredictable.
That's hilarious, but it's so true.
You're not paying for the trees, you're paying the guy at the toll booth.
That is a perfect way to visualize it, because the crucial distinction being made here is that the scarcity was never in the resource itself. The scarcity was entirely in the access.
Right.
The fear is the product. If you can invent a danger, say, the danger of the power grid collapsing, or the danger of water being unsafe without a specific corporate middleman, you can make people actively grateful for the protection you are selling them.
Like a protection racket.
Pretty much. What's fascinating here is that you are charging them for a cure to a disease that you created in a boardroom.
So where do we see this toll booth today? If we look around our modern lives, how does this four-step playbook actually manifest in the bills we are paying every month?
No, it is everywhere, but utilities are the most glaring example. Let's look at energy. The physical technology to generate electricity like solar panels and wind turbines is getting incredibly efficient. The cost of manufacturing a solar cell drops drastically year after year.
Yet the prices on our power bills always seem to go up. And the justification the utility companies feed the public is almost always a vague reference to, like increased demand or grid strain.
Exactly. Think about how utility companies justify rate hikes. They just say, increased demand. It acts as a conversational stop sign.
The conversational stop sign. That's a great way to put it.
Right. It sounds highly economical and authoritative, so the average person just stops asking questions and pays the bill. They use the complexity of the grid as a metaphorical fence.
And then there is healthcare. The source material describes this as the absolute masterpiece of artificial scarcity.
It really is the masterpiece.
Because fundamentally, healthcare is just the act of being alive. It is the baseline factory setting of a human being.
Yeah.
But the system has repackaged staying alive as a premium tier service. It's like calling a hotline and hearing, your desire to remain alive is important to us. Please hold for the next available billing representative.
That is so dark, but
Yeah.
it brings up a critical psychological shift. These systems didn't just sell us physical services, they sold us an entirely new identity.
An identity.
Yeah. Over the centuries, we were slowly transitioned from being human beings with innate biological survival needs into valued customers.
For policyholders with exciting new deductible options.
Exactly.
That part is incredibly dark when you really stop to think about it. They took basic human survival, turned it into a monthly subscription model, and we somehow ended up thanking them for it.
We really did.
Think about your own life. We are so deeply conditioned by this identity that we don't even question the absurdity of the invoice anymore. Instead, we call the customer service line and ask if we can get loyalty points for paying our medical debt. We're asking for rewards programs for our own survival.
It is dependency dressed up as belonging, and it is a profound dehumanization.
Yeah, dehumanization.
When you successfully convince someone that needing the basics of life makes them a consumer rather than a person with inherent rights, you completely alter their relationship to the world.
Wow.
They stopped questioning the toll booth on the hiking trail. In fact, they actually start defending the toll booth operator because they believe the operator is the only thing keeping them safe.
Wait, hold on a second. I need to challenge this for a second. Let's be real here. The hiking trail analogy is great, but the real world isn't just trees and rivers.
Sure.
Getting clean water to my tap, or building a power grid that covers an entire continent, or putting a highly trained doctor into a sterile hospital room that requires massive physical infrastructure.
It absolutely does.
Miles of underground pipes, high voltage lines, MRI machines. That isn't a metaphorical fence. That is concrete, steel, and highly skilled labor. Are we pretending the delivery mechanism doesn't cost billions of dollars to build and maintain?
No, that is phenomenal pushback, and it is vital that we are precise about the mechanics here. The argument is not that infrastructure is magically free or that the people laying the pipes shouldn't be paid. The argument is that the markup is entirely theatrical.
Theatrical? How so?
Well, think about the actual cost of laying a pipe versus the price you pay on your bill. The infrastructure is real, yes, but the massive fear-based premium layered on top of it, the administrative bloat, the complex pricing tiers, the localized monopolies, that is the artificial scarcity.
Ah, I see.
The extra cost is the fence. The danger being highlighted isn't the concept of paying for delivery. It's the psychological manipulation making you believe that without their specific, heavily marked up, insanely bureaucratic system, you wouldn't survive at all.
Okay, that makes sense. The physical pipe is real, but the 1,000-page pricing manual dictating how much I pay for the water inside it is theatrical.
Exactly.
So if we've been trapped in this dynamic for centuries, paying these theatrical markups, why is this suddenly a massive topic of conversation? What exactly changed to make us realize we are being scammed?
Technology changed, specifically artificial intelligence and automation. Right. To use the framing from the analysis, AI has wandered into the room and started reading the receipts.
I love that image so much. Just an AI looking at a hospital bill and saying, wait, this aspirin does not cost $40.
Precisely, because artificial intelligence is uniquely capable of instantly calculating complex logistics without the burden of human emotion.
Oh, that's a good point.
When a machine analyzes a supply chain or a pricing tier, it doesn't feel fear. It doesn't care about the conversational stop sign of increased demand. It just processes the raw data.
It just looks at the numbers.
Right. It can break down exactly what something actually costs to build, source, and deliver, stripping away the theatrical markup.
Here's where it gets incredibly practical. The discussion introduces a builder named Joseph Sack, and he talks about the digital cottage economy.
Yeah, Joseph Sack's work is a perfect example of this.
Because he isn't just writing theories on a whiteboard, he is actually building software this way. He runs an authentication platform that he prices at a tiny fraction of what the massive incumbent tech companies charge.
A tiny fraction.
And he doesn't achieve that low price by cutting corners. He does it by simply refusing to pay for a fence that was never load-bearing. But wait, I have to ask, an authentication platform, like a password manager, how does a piece of software expose a global scam?
Well, it is much bigger than a password manager. Think about why massive administrative bureaucracies exist in the first place.
And make my life difficult.
Well, arguably. But ostensibly, middlemen, whether in banking, healthcare, or digital security, exist to verify trust. They verify you are who you say you are, that you have the money you say you have, or that you are authorized to access a service. Historically, verifying that trust required thousands of human employees, massive office buildings, and endless paperwork.
Lots and lots of overhead.
Exactly. Sachs technology uses cryptography and automation to verify that trust instantly for pennies.
Oh. So when you automate the trust, you completely eliminate the need for the 10,000-person administrative department.
Exactly. That is how the fence comes down. The massive incumbent companies charge a premium to cover their bloated human bureaucracies. Sachs' automated platform mathematically proves that the bureaucracy is no longer necessary.
To bring back our earlier metaphor, if the old system is a guy charging you $20 at a physical toll booth on a hiking trail, AI and automation are like handing every single hiker a jetpack.
I love the jetpack analogy.
We don't have to argue with the guy at the gate about the price of the toll. You just fly right over the fence. The toll booth operator becomes completely irrelevant overnight.
And when you fly over that fence, the illusion of authority shatters. When an automated system transparently shows you the true cost of materials and digital delivery, the curtain is pulled back.
Yeah.
You realize there is no terrifying monster hiding behind the curtain requiring a massive financial sacrifice. There is just a person standing next to a makeshift gate using a very confident voice.
A fake gate and pure confidence. That's the foundation of entire industry.
It really is.
And this leads to the truly optimistic core of this whole discussion. Because once those jetpacks are distributed, once the fences start coming down, we get to see what happens to the cost of access across major life-altering industries.
This is where it gets really exciting.
We are moving from the theory of technological disruption to concrete, real-world examples of what is called default abundance. Let's look at the sectors undergoing this shift. Energy, for example.
Right.
You combine solar panels with next-generation battery storage, and the cost curve is plummeting. As the original essay beautifully puts it, the sun does not send a bill.
It's a great line. And we see the exact same curve in water resources. Technologies for desalination and water purification, which used to be considered exotic, wildly expensive, and highly centralized, are becoming decentralized and incredibly cheap to run.
Wow.
The actual technological capability to provide clean water is detaching from the old, expensive infrastructure.
Then there is knowledge and education. Think about your own life, or anyone you know who has taken on massive student debt. Specialized knowledge used to be aggressively gatekept behind a $60,000 piece of paper.
At least $60,000.
Yeah, right? But today, you can access world-class information, learn complex coding languages, and educate yourself at 2 in the morning.
From your couch.
Exactly. The only cost is your own curiosity and a basic internet connection. The gatekeepers of the library have lost the keys.
And finally, they apply this exact same logic to healthcare.
But wait, let me jump in here. AI can't perform an emergency appendectomy.
No, it can't.
You cannot automate a physical surgeon or a hospital bed. So how does AI actually drop the cost of physical medical care?
You are absolutely right that the physical intervention requires a human. But think about the steps required before you ever reach that operating table. AI-assisted diagnostics, remote monitoring, and digital triage are automating the initial access to medical understanding. Right now, navigating the diagnostic maze, getting appointments, getting referrals, dealing with insurance approvals just to find out what is wrong with you is where a massive amount of the cost and friction lies.
That is so true. Just trying to figure out what's wrong takes forever and costs a fortune.
By automating that initial triage, the cost of understanding your own health plummets. You only pay for the physical intervention, not the administrative maze leading up to it.
So what does this all mean? When we step back and look at energy, water, knowledge, and health, and we see the cost of simply accessing these things dropping straight down, what does this mean for the average person listening right now?
It means the mathematical definition of democratization is finally being realized.
Oh, mathematical democratization.
Yes. Democratization in this context isn't a PR buzzword painted on the side of a corporate headquarters. It is a mathematical reality that happens when the cost of access falls to near zero.
Which is happening right now.
It is. Suddenly, one individual builder, equipped with the right automated tools, no longer needs to beg for permission from the historical gatekeepers. They don't need a massive $100 million capital investment to bypass the old systems. They can just build around them.
Abundance was always the default setting of the planet. I can't stop thinking about that phrase. The system just unplugged it so they could charge us for the reboot.
That's exactly what happened.
But as incredibly hopeful as this is, the material doesn't end on a simple happy note.
No, it doesn't.
It actually ends with a massive warning.
Yeah.
Because if you are the person who owns the old profitable toll booth, the invention of the jetpack is terrifying.
It's an existential threat.
And they use this darkly hilarious, incredibly unsettling prediction to make their point, the concept of breathing plus.
Oh, man. The oxygen subscription model.
Yes. The prediction is that if we aren't paying close attention, the second someone figures out the technology to put a digital meter on atmospheric oxygen, we're all getting auto-enrolled in a subscription called Breathing Plus.
It's just so dystopian.
The standard ad-supported free tier gets you 14 breaths a minute. But if you want the premium tier, well, the premium tier is the only one that lets you exhale.
It is brilliant satire because it lays bare the exact absurdity of the four-step playbook we outlined at the start.
Yeah.
It takes something utterly free and vital, imagines a technological fence around it, applies a phony health and safety logic, and generates a recurring invoice.
And people would probably pay it.
They absolutely would. It perfectly highlights that the human instinct to enclose and monetize free resources hasn't disappeared just because technology improved. That instinct is simply looking for new frontiers.
I genuinely hate how clearly I can imagine getting a promotional email offering me a 30-day free trial of Breathing Plus.
Right. Sign up now for uninterrupted exhales.
Ugh. But it drives home the final call to action, what is framed as the rebellion. And the rebellion isn't about taking up arms or marching in the streets. It is incredibly simple, and it starts entirely in your own mind.
It's a mental shift.
The entire trick, the whole scarcity scam, only works if nobody is looking closely. If you just blindly accept the invoice and assume the markup is natural, the toll booth stays open forever.
Forever.
So the homework for you, listening right now, is just to pay attention. Look at the things in your life that you are told are scarce. Look at the things that are wildly expensive but feel essential to your basic existence. And simply ask yourself the question, who built the fence around this?
And that leaves us with one final critical reality to consider. If automation and artificial intelligence are currently acting as bulldozers, rapidly destroying the artificial fences around our most essential resources, what happens to the massive global economies that were built entirely on the labor of maintaining those fences?
It's a huge question.
Millions of jobs and billions of dollars are tied up in the pure administration of artificial scarcity. As those old fences fall, The transition will be chaotic.
Very chaotic.
And in that chaos, the builders of toll booths won't just retire. They will look for new, unregulated territory in your digital or physical life to enclose.
They'll find a new river.
Exactly. So as you go about your week, look at your digital life, look at your subscriptions. Who is standing next to a free river right now, quietly building a new fence?